した力が知れる。
What's going on, guys? I bet you look just as good as I do in this shirt, baby. We looking spastic, baby. Besides that, we got a game to review that's behind me. Well, my green screen's behind me, but the photo, you guys know how this stuff works. Anyway, Shin Megami Tensei is what we are going to be reviewing today. Yes, you can, you know what? Put the closed captions on. Oh, I think I have to enable that myself. But I would love to see what it actually tried to make it said that I think it said or whatever. How are you guys doing? We're about to do a review on this game. The first time that I saw this game, I was like, wow, this game actually looks really cool. But at the same time, obviously I knew it's in a, what is this? Obviously it's 5, Shin Megami Tensei 5, but I was like, yo, this game looks cool. Like, of course, it's like it looks Persona-ish. If I started seeing Persona, and it's funny because if you guys go to my YouTube page, obviously that it's like a Persona-inspired picture that Devious Sketcher did make, and you would think that I played all the Personas, but I've never played a Persona game. Please do not hate me. I can already feel it, but I've also never played a Shin Megami Tensei game, and I also think that a lot of people have not either. And I feel like that's why some people are so surprised when they're like, wait, this game is just kind of like Persona. What's going on? I wanted to explain it, how the game kind of plays out. Is it worth your time? And I usually come up with the same kind of conclusion. I feel bad, but at least I can give you guys a little breakdown of how the game works and things of that nature. So, of course, I used a playthrough. I didn't buy it. I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm promised a video is going to come up pretty soon about everything that's going on with me financially, but at the moment I can't be purchasing game after game after game after game after game. Some games I do want to buy because I really want to play them. Some games I just want to watch and enjoy. I think you guys are the same too. I think some of you guys, let me know in the comment section below if you like to just watch certain games instead of just buying them. Some games I feel like are a better viewing experience than a play experience, and vice versa. So anywho, obviously this game is wackadoodle. So anywho, we got the main character, which you name. Oh my god, when I was watching I watched a couple playthroughs for this, right? So I always like to show you guys what playthrough I was watching when I was doing the review, right? So the YouTube channel that I watched the playthrough on was Rubhen925. And as you can see, he covers a lot of different games. He's covering the Ruin King, which we reviewed. He has some Genshin Impact. He plays a lot of games. So if you guys are interested in watching someone, or to hit that subscribe button on this guy, but he actually does have it. Where is it? The Shin Megami Tensei 5. I will link this whole playlist here. There's a issue or something like that where some people are saying that they can't show the final boss for some reason or something like that. I don't know. I think so. A lot of YouTubers seem to be avoiding it and things of that nature. But let's go into the details of the game anyway. So you have the main character, which you can name yourself, which I said I was getting confused. I was watching another person's playthrough and like I was like, oh, this guy must be this guy's name. And then I played another and I was like, oh, it's not the same name. But there are a couple supporting characters that are around you. But pretty much, let's just get to the nitty gritty. Your main character fuses with a demon. When your character kind of fuses with one of these demons, you become something called a Nahabino. Yes, I'm like, whoo, make sure I get this right. You become a Nahabino. It is the fusion of knowledge and life. Yes, you are now pretty much, you're like a Power Ranger. I guess I don't know any better way to say it. You become a Power Ranger. That's what, like, that's the main guy. That's the guy that's above me. You're this Power Ranger. Now there are other couple characters in the cast. It's more detailed into what the story actually is about. There's a big thing. I mean, I was taking a lot of notes here about this war that happened 20 years ago in Tokyo, and it was the angels versus the demons, and there's a lot of stuff, and I'm just looking through my notes. There's a lot of stuff, but honestly, I think that especially for a story-based game, especially a game like this that is long and girthy, it's about the gameplay. I could tell you about each little character that I was taking notes on, but I feel like it just wouldn't even do you justice. So let's go into how the game actually plays. Now, what I really like about this game is that it is very Persona-esque, but it's more, I feel like it's more Pokemon. I feel like this game, the biggest difference between Persona 5 or Persona in general versus the Shin Megami games is that in Shin Megami, it's more Pokemon. It's you yourself the character, or at least in this game, you yourself the character with I think 3 other monsters that you have captured or tamed or negotiated with that are on your team. And I think that that's Completely different because in Persona, usually you're playing with a cast, the same cast of the characters that are around you, and those are the other characters that are with you, and that's pretty much the biggest difference between the two. The moves, the using spells and stuff like that, that's pretty much the same. Even if I'm using like Joker or something like that, like from there, I think that is Persona 5. I terrible with the numbers. You know, they use they cast a thing from something that they captured, but in Shin Megami, it's like that unit is there and it's fighting and it's using its own spells, it learns its own spells. I feel like it makes a little bit more sense than Persona as far as like utilizing all the other units that you capture. They're fighting there with you because you tame them and because you're just, I know you're just that dude. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain it without going into in-depth detail, but pretty much this is anime Pokemon. Even though Pokemon's kind of anime, just look at it like that. That is one of the biggest difference, and a lot of people want to know the difference between Persona 5 and this game, so that's one of the biggest difference. Like I said, you're in a party of 4. In Persona 5, the weakness thing, when you hit a weakness, right, that's a whole big thing in comparison to when you hit a weakness in Shin Megami Tensei. I think in Persona 5, when you hit a weakness, usually you get like an extra turn. In this game, you do get an extra turn, but there's a limit to it. Just wanted to show you guys how the battle mechanics actually work out. So I'm gonna pause here. As you can see on the upper right hand corner here, you can see that they have 4 turns, obviously 1 for each person. You can have 3 extra monsters on your team. I'll show a little bit later how you actually like how you tame monsters, but just wanted to show you guys how this works. So you have 3 monsters on your team, and then obviously yourself. He's named himself Ruben because that's him, and 4, and then of course the enemy over here has 1. Like I said, if you know the element of the fight, if you know the element of the monster that you're fighting, and you can get an extra turn. But if you mess up and miss the element, you can actually lose a turn and lose one of these little things up here. So we'll see a little bit in this fight how that actually runs, so we get a nice little example of how the game actually works. So let's see it. And immediately he does something I didn't want him to do. This is just like I wouldn't say like a what do they call, like a super or overdrive, and it allows everything to be a critical. Now if you hit with a critical, regardless of the elemental stuff, you actually get a free turn. So he's pretty much cheating. That's that's what he's doing. He's cheating. So yeah, everything is now a crit. So you'll see how the thing lights up, right? So hits with electric. He happens to be weak to it, so he would have got a free turn for it anyway. But the crit also allows it to get a crit. And you can see here, it lights up. That means he's getting another extra turn. So you're gonna see him get pretty much 8 turns. Or unless he wants to do that. So while you see here, hits, it's gonna crit and it's gonna light up one of the orbs. See? Gonna do a hit here. Gonna light up one of the orbs. Now another turn comes in. Light up one of the orbs. Now those turns are gonna come around. So you see how many turns he's taking right now? This is the whole strategy of the game, and since he took an extra turn, instead of to deal damage, to debuff the enemy instead. This game is super strategic. It's all about the strategy. And now here's his last turn. Now, look how much damage he did without taking any damage on his characters. Now, for example, if there was any time that he would have hit with an off element outside of using that buff, right, then he would have lost a turn. I hope you guys understand that. So now he's gonna go, and the enemy's gonna have the same courtesy. Now you can see here on the upper right, those are the enemy icons. So hits with that, puts a status ailment. Okay, get that off my screen. Get it off my screen! This is the first time you come across it, and just ended up doing damage instead. Now again, especially with these monsters here, if they would have hit a weakness, you would have got extra turns. It could turn really crazy. So especially if you're going into boss fights, you have to be extremely careful on who you're bringing into the fight. Because if you start letting them get extra turns, all of a sudden you're doing more reviving than doing damage, and you're doing more healing than doing damage, and vice versa. Also, you can see here on the bottom, let me switch back, bottom right, you can put it on auto battle, which they won't use any skills, and you could just kind of sit there. It's kind of a good thing to do when near the end of the fight, you already won, you feel like you don't need to do anything. You can also pass, as you can see down there. So the game is really, really intricate, and I wanted to showcase a little bit of a fight, how you can really, really take advantage of the system and sweep out, or you could see what happens, you know. You can imagine in your head how it can really, things can go extremely wrong, especially fighting a new boss. Another cool mechanic that they have in the game is how you actually capture the monsters. Now, how you capture the monsters in this game is by bribing them. You bribe them. There's no Pokeball system. In a sense, it is. You are utilizing an item to get them onto your team, but every monster is not asking you for the same thing. So what I really like is that one monster might say, hey, give me some of your health, give me some of your mana, and you would do that, and then that still doesn't guarantee that they'll come to you. Sometimes they'll take a lot of stuff from you and then say, oh, well, peace, deuces. Peace, deuces. I actually want to show an example of that because it's actually pretty funny. Now we're going to be able to see a time where he actually goes in and he's going to try to convince this demon. I actually don't even know if he gets it or not, but he chose this time to actually weaken the thing that he's fighting, kill off the other ones, and then try to go talk to it. So sometimes that actually backfires. You kill too many of them. Sometimes you can kill too many of them, and then it actually comes to a thing where it's like, oh, you killed all my friends, I don't want to. And each little encounter is different, and I like that. It gives a different little spice. But let's see him try to capture this. The demon is trying to leave. What will you do? Stop them, let them go, smirk at them. Wait, you're just gonna pounce on me, and the second I turn around, I'm not gonna fall for that. Let's just talk instead. So you picked the right option. So now he's gonna give him another thing. And you have to do this for each thing that you're trying to capture. What should I do? Give me one thing. So he has the soda, he has 4 of them, gave him 1. Is that a good enough? He wants some money. Ask for something else. I don't want to give you my money. Give me some of your HP. Sure. Oh my god, he took a lot. And he actually captured him. Like, something like that is just like, it's just kind of funny, right? Because like it's not like you just capture its weak and it has the thing. And that monster at that point could have said, well, you know what? Nah, I don't care. Thank you for all your HP and stuff like that, but I don't feel like coming with you or something like that. And that's what you have to do. And it's pretty cool. I know that Persona 5 also has a very similar system, but I like that this one is a little bit different from it. They're not identical. They're a little bit different, and then that's what makes the games obviously different. As you can see on the upper left hand, you see half moon. They actually have like a weird like time system in this game where depending on the condition, like the size of the moon, if it's half, I think I have all of them here. Where are my notes? So there are full moon, half moon, there's 8 cycles. So depending on the actual cycle, it actually will, depending on how the demons react to you. Sometimes it's going to make it easier for them to join your team, and sometimes it's going to make it harder. And as you can also see that it's like this kind of outworld, and this is kind of where you are most of the game. Another difference is when you're playing Persona 5, it's more of like this relationship kind of building kind of game, and you have to pretty much try to, I don't know, I guess the best way, a dating simulator, there we go. It's kind of like a dating simulator when you're trying to build all these relationships to make them like you and things of that nature. This game does not have that. So if anyone, I feel like, especially if you play Persona 5 and was like, this is kind of weird, this waifu husbando shit, and you'd be like, yo, I don't want to do that, I just want to play a solid game, I think this game might be right up your alley. You kind of only mess around with this, you're in this world, you're running around, you're trying to find your friend. And I think that might be a little bit more up your alley for people that really didn't like that. And I'm actually, not that I'm completely like that, but that whole aspect of going into the town and talking to people, I wasn't too big of a fan of that when I was watching the Persona games. I think that that's what made this game, when I was watching it, a little bit more enjoyable, more action based. It's more about running around and seeing threats and seeing things at a distance and going over to it, instead of it being in Persona where you would, at least, and I'm using Persona 5 as my base because this most Persona game that I've watched is that you only were able to go into that world, into the mine or the mansion, I forgot what they call it, every once in a while, like when you had to do it. Like this game, you can literally go around and farm. You could probably, before meeting your first boss, be like level 1000 just from farming all day. Please don't do that, that's exaggerated. You definitely don't need to do that. Oh yeah, another thing that I want to talk to, which was also in Persona 5, is this fusion. And I want to show you guys the fusion because this thing was trippy, man. Now what's really cool about the fusion is that, as you can see here, like for a quick example, the Pixie with the Kodama makes the Nico Shogun, and there are a ton of different combinations in this game, and it really allows you to make these way stronger, like, I want to call them Pokemon, but I know it's not. It allows you to make really way stronger monsters. And as you can see here, I'm going to show the actual like cutscene because it's kind of nuts. The first fusion that this guy decides to make. All right, here we go. Like, does this make any sense? But that's kind of the cool thing about this game, right? Because this is how you fuse. First, you get your Yamaha piano. Stay in the key of A, you know? Uh-huh. Yup. And yeah, each demon has like their own little talking thing. Cool, right? This game is super in depth. I'm glossing over stuff. I'm not going crazy in depth about every little single thing that you could do and the intricacies of it and like mixing, matching moves and like putting moves from one monster onto another monster and like fusing it onto your own character. There's a lot of stuff you can do, but that is how these games work. This is how the Persona 5 game and the Shin Megami Tensei, this is how they always work. There's a bunch of fusing, there's a bunch of moving around skills, there is a bunch of capturing monsters to then do that same thing because you want to get certain moves and certain character. Like it's a little overwhelming if you like, for me when I was trying to look and learn about all this stuff, but once you get into it, it's probably like how I know Pokemon and the Eevee training and the Ivy training. And if you don't know that, I don't know how to explain it better to you. But it's intricate. And I think that a lot of people, especially people in my gacha community, like we like stuff that's intricate, that requires strategy. It's not cookie cutter. If you do not come up with a solid strategy, you're going to end up losing. And this game does have multiple difficulties, so at the very least you can play on whatever, you know, whatever scale you want. It's not like Dark Souls where you just turn the game on and it's like good luck, hope you have fun with it. So you can turn the difficulty down if you finding yourself struggling a little bit, or you could turn it up if you feel like you want more of a challenge. So YFOs in the comment section below, let me know how you feel about Shin Megami Tensei. Is this type of game that you guys would like? Me personally, I would wait until it's on sale. I find that that's kind of my thing for any type of single player game, that once you beat it, it's kind of done. I think that unless you have a like if you played 1, 2, 3, 4 and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait for 5, and you have to get it on release. A lot of these games, a lot of these companies always want you to buy the game as soon as it comes out. But you know, what is the difference of you playing this game now versus playing it in a few months or a year now when it's on, you know, when it comes on a sale? I know Nintendo's very stingy, but I think that this game is really good, especially if you wait for it on a sale when you can get it when it's a little bit cheaper. Play through the entire thing, maybe play through it with a guide, and you know, so you can get all the fun monsters, make sure you don't miss anything. Like I said, as you were seeing before, the majority of the game is played like in this world, like you're just running around and walking around, looking for clues, finding out, figuring puzzles. So, you know, you got a lot that you could do. Maybe you want to walk looking through a guide to make sure that you don't actually miss anything. But if I had to give it a nice little rating, I think I would give this game about an 8.5-ish. It's a really good game. From what I've seen, it's just super long. And I like it. I like when they're long. I like when you buy a game, whether it's on sale or not, and you get a good hefty, get a nice big slice of the pizza. You know, it's not like something you beat it, like, you know, no disrespect to Ken of Bridge of Spirits, I like that game, but you can beat that game relatively quickly. And even though the price tag was lowered because of that, you know, sometimes people don't like when you get a game and you start sinking your teeth into it, you really start getting the systems down and you really start getting into everything, and then all of a sudden the game's over. I think that was my gripe of like a game like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Love the game, but once you get everything in the game, it's like pretty much the end of the game by that time. So that's M.F.O, and now you guys know. Like, comment, subscribe, and just remember that every day at the Kashino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.